Hello YouTube. In this video I want to discuss the most common problem I see advanced lifters experiencing with the deadlift. The deadlift is, in my opinion, a lift that is going to require a certain body shape to perform well on, meaning that your leverages are very important. That being said, I disagree with the idea that you need that certain body shape to have good form. If you put enough work in and you play with your foot stance and your head stance and you try different types of deadlifts, you will eventually find a type of pull that you can do from the floor with perfect form. One exception to that is the conventional deadlift. I think the conventional deadlift is not for everyone, like it's marketed to be. It certainly is a great lift. It's my favorite deadlift. It's one of my favorite lifts, period. But some people are just not able to pull from the floor with a neutral back. That being said, I feel like the entire discussion of deadlift form for the conventional is centered around the start of the lift, meaning that most of the critique you hear when people say, oh, that person has bad form on the deadlift. What they talk about is the starting position, that the person either starts with a rounded back or that when they start pulling, their hips shoot up and their back rounds. This is something that's easy to coach and easy to correct. Usually it's muscle weakness in the core, or it's weak glutes, it's a bad starting position, it's a bad setup. These things can be coached, and they usually, when they are coached in beginners, you never see them again ever during the career of these lifters. What I want to talk about is something that plagues advanced lifters, people who have had experience with the deadlift for years and years, and yet still commit that one sin that makes their deadlift form look terrible at the end of the movement. And it's the reason why it's never really discussed, is because it precedes the lockout. And once the lift is locked, right? Who cares? Well, I care because I don't want people to snap their spines, and this is a dangerous position to be in. The position I'm referring to is the fishing rope position. From the thumbnail, you can see what I'm talking about. It's a position where both of your shoulders are protrated, your lats are not engaged, and your back is like this. So your lumbar spine might be straight, but your thoracic spine is rounded. The reason why no one talks about it is, one, because it has become quite acceptable to claim that rounding your thoracic spine is okay. In my opinion, it's not. It's less dangerous than rounding your lumbar spine, but it will become eventually a cause of your lumbar spine rounding. That's for another video, but basically your spine follows the neck, and so if you start with a lowered head, your thoracic spine is going to round, which is going to lead to rounding in the lumbar spine. Just doing that position was uncomfortable for my back. But that's something I want to detail in other videos. What I want to talk about now is how to avoid that fishing rope. Because one, it makes the lockout much harder, because now you have to uncoil your entire body that is rounded around the bar, and is the reason why so many lifters fail the deadlift above the knee, because they're completely rounded over and they've been told it's okay. And two, it's going to prevent back injuries in advanced lifters and in very strong deadlifters. It has become completely acceptable for very strong deadlifters to have that flow in their technique because they got the weight up. Well, they did get the weight up, but for how long? Most of the time when I see very promising star talent level powerlifters who have that quirk, who have that fishing rope syndrome, they end up snapping their back and disappearing forever from the scene, and I want to help prevent that. So, the cause of that is the knees locking too early in the movement. What happens when you lock your knees in the deadlift? The bar doesn't move anymore. Why? Because what pushes the bar up your body is your legs pressing against the floor. in a way, the deadlift is as much as a press as it is, as much as a push press as it is a pull. So if your knees are locked, the musculature of your hamstrings, glutes are not providing the necessary force for the bar to move up. So what ends up happening is you have to lock the bar with only your upper back. So you have to uncoil, like I said. Your glutes can't help you with that anymore because they're out of the movement. So the easy fix is be more patient with your knees. Don't lock your knees. The reason why people lock their knees so fast is because they want to explode off the floor. So they push as fast as they can and they lock the knees as fast as they can. And then they are stuck in that position. Be patient with your force production. Try and maintain that neutral spine and apply the pressure slowly. If you want an example, go in my playlist and look at the way I deadlift. You will see that the bar takes a long time to get off the floor. It's not explosive, but it never slows down. It's a constant motion up, 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 and I never have to hitch. And the motion stops and the bar is locked when my knees lock. So when my knees lock, everything locks together. The hips lock, the shoulders lock, and the bar stops. And that's the end of the movement. That's what you should strive towards. If you look at my videos, you will see that my back remains neutral all throughout. And it's everything aligns together, the knees lock, the hips lock, at the end of the movement. And once everything is locked, it's the strongest position and I can go back to my setup and pull again. I'm not a very strong deadlifter. I don't claim to be. If you pull more than me and you think, well, I'm not going to take advice from that guy, do what you want. I just want to tell you that in 4 years of conventional deadlifts, I have never woken up with a sore back. I've never had a back injury deadlifting. I've never had any issues. And I credit that to my deadlift form because I avoid the fishing rope syndrome. So if you have that problem or if you think you might develop it, please reflect on what I said and don't get so hung up on the weight. I know that exploding off the floor with a rounded thoracic back might give you some poundage, but unless you're a competitive powerlifter, you shouldn't care about that. Think about your longevity. Think about the health of your spine. And I also want to tell you that I used to pull with a rounded back for a very short period when I also was obsessed with powerlifting and numbers. And yes, I was slightly stronger then, but my strength now with my proper form is catching up. So even the argument of saying, well, I'm stronger with a rounded upper back, you don't know that. Try with proper form, with constant leg pressure, and then come back and tell me what you think. So this is it for the video. I hope it was informative. The thumbnail should contain, as I said, the example, but if you can't visualize it, I can put more pictures in the comments if you ask for it. So this is it for the video. Have a good day, stay safe when you deadlift, and keep a strong spine.